I'm Tuomas Huopana from University of Eastern Finland, and there I'm working in a group of environmental informatics, and mostly we are known in this project about modeling regional impacts from bioenergy production chains, and mostly before we have been concentrating in biogas production chains, but now I will introduce you regional feedstock potentials from Finland, which in this case I think were relevant to introduce you were household biowaste, forest industry, wastewater treatment plant sluts, and spoiled grass silage. So quite different feedstock materials. And of course, these materials, they are not only good for fermentation processes, but also for other kind of biological processes. And actually the reason why actually we are here is that we need to cut down these greenhouse gas emissions, and politicians they make rules for us to start to think about how to cut those emissions, and of course now hot topic is that how these biological processes can compete with incineration, which is quite easy and fast solution to handle waste materials. And thanks to Elias about very interesting presentation, it gives something very new to this field, how to understand these biological processes in new way. Not only to see only the shortest solution, but also to start to understand the actual phenomena behind. And when we think about these regional feedstock potentials, we end up to the question, is the bigger better? I put there question mark because do we need to have large scale plant, or is it enough to have small scale plant? Depends actually about the whole production chain. How efficiently we can utilize different raw materials and in what scale. And in this presentation I will only show regional feedstock mappings from Finland, and also a bit estimate what would be reasonable transportation distances for those feedstocks. And at the moment we have household biowaste separately collected about 50 kilotons dry matter per year, and still we have lots of organic waste in municipal solid waste, around 270 kilotons dry matter per year. And this is interesting number that now this 270 kilotons dry matter per year goes mainly for incineration and still some amounts to landfills, but still we have that 50 kilotons dry matter per year in waste management centers, where actually it is now quite nice to utilize. And then we have this wastewater treatment plant sluts from pulp, paper and board production, and at the moment under of landfill legislation it considers about 40 kilotons dry matter sluts per year, when still total sluts production is 420 kilotons dry matter per year. And then we have, I pointed out this another interesting agricultural feedstock, spoiled grass silage, which corresponds annually about 70 kilotons dry matter per year. And of course, everybody know that now where this household bio-waste goes in current status for compost, biogas and incineration processes, mostly with mixed municipal solid waste. But at the moment, household bio-waste collection corresponds about 30 kilograms per inhabitant. That is like separately collected. And still, we could, if we would train people to separate this organic fraction more carefully, we would achieve 5 times more bio-waste that it's now collected in current status. And because of this organic dry matter concentration is about 20% of fresh matter, it means that it's reasonable to transport quite long distances, even hundreds of kilometers, that household bio-waste. And in case of biogas production, in energy balance point of view, the maximum transportation distance is around 1,500 kilometers. And in Finland scale, it would mean that it would be quite nicely to collect this fraction from different origins which are located around Finland. And here you can see distribution of household bio-waste production, which is of course based on where people are located in Finland. And here this graph shows distribution inside radius of 25 kilometer, ton per square kilometer, ranging from quite low amounts up to 18 tons per square kilometer. And this is actually, when I did this plot, I noticed that this is quite horrible because almost all population is located around Helsinki region, so I needed to scale this a bit differently. But still, we have to remind that now this municipal solid waste incineration capacity is affecting on this end treatment in regional scale in a way that we would have after 2016 quite nicely incineration capacity about 1,300 kilotons per year. And it would be interesting to see now that how we would manage to handle this organic fraction when most of the municipal solid waste goes to these incineration plants. Then we have this forest industry wastewater treatment plant sludge, around 400 kilotons, which is mostly combusted in current status, and only a small part goes still to these landfills because there's combustion problems with this incineration, and this can be due to the reason that biosludge production is increasing in these wastewater treatment plants, which makes dewatering more difficult. And this shows the amount of landfill waste from pulp, paper and board production plants in dry matter tons per year. And these are total amounts, and here you can see that what is the distribution of these landfill amounts. And still, under of landfilling legislation, we would have this about 40,000 dry matter tons per year, when these other waste fractions would be limited out of this landfilling legislation. And what are the sludge fractions in this case? They are primary sludge, biosludge, and tertiary sludge from this wastewater treatment plant, where the organic material is dissolved. Organic material as dissolved and particle form is removed during this whole process. And now most of the wastewater flow goes in this direction to this biological treatment process, and after second clarifier, still most of the wastewater flow goes to chemical treatment if there is need for it, and then the last phase is to inject this effluent to environment, when we could still get some amount of sludge called tertiary sludge. And in the end, all these sludge flows ended up through settling to dewatering, where this sludge have dry matter concentration usually from 20 to 40% of fresh matter. And of course now it depends on that where this wastewater treatment plant is located, because in fine paper mill plants, this organic dry matter concentration is quite low, from 40 to 50% of total dry matter concentration due to usage of fillers and other material that is not organic. But then in sulfate pulp mill sludge, this organic dry matter can be higher, from 80 to 95% of total dry matter. And actually the place where this pilot A were tested belongs to this category, where this organic dry matter concentration is higher. And when we see how this forest industry sludge is distributed in whole Finland, we can see that there is like the scale is going from 2 kilotons dry matter per year up to about 40 dry matter kilotons per year. And here you can see where pilot A was located compared to other sludge production origins. It belongs to this mid-size category. So it's interesting to see how we would do this if we could make breakthroughs so that it would be really reasonable to transport that sludge very long distances. But then there is also this another interesting waste fraction, so-called waste fraction, spoiled grass silage. And those who are not familiar with farming, this grass silage is harvested 2 times per year, and it's usually stored for winter time. And in North Savo region, Savonia staff actually did research about this, that how much grass silage is spoiled in Finnish farms, and they found out that about 3% of total production is spoiled, and now this amount could be used for biological processes, and it's been also tested in biogas processes, and probably this could be also used in fermentation processes, and it's the quality of this spoiled grass silage is based on this dairy cows selection. When they get the food in front of them, their nose start to select what they can eat and what they cannot eat. So this is the material that they cannot eat. And of course, when we start to estimate this regional dimension, how far it's reasonable to transport this grass silage, my estimation is that at least hundreds of kilometers would be reasonable transportation distances for this spoiled grass silage, because its organic dry matter concentration is around 20% of fresh matter. And here you can see plot about spoiled grass silage distribution in Finland. And here is actually our target province in ABOWE project. There it's possible to achieve grass silage productions up to 4 tons per square kilometer, and it's nice to see that where actually dairy cow and milk production is in Finland. It's in Savo region and in Western Finland, around Oulu, around southern Pohjois-Savo province, and in Etelä-Pohjanmaa province. And what is the meaning of all these figures? We would have now, like, I divided these feedstock into 2 categories, because these spoiled grass silage and household biowaste are quite regional specific feedstocks. They are located in different origins, and they have quite homogeneous properties, even they are located in different origins. So this would result into a question that how we could utilize all these materials. And then we have these sluts from pulp and paper and board production in single origins, where is quite huge amounts of these sluts, and even in single origin these sluts properties can vary quite a lot. And also we have to keep in mind that these sluts properties, they vary also a lot between different wastewater treatment plants. So in that way, these sluts from wastewater treatment plant is quite different from these spoiled grass silage and household biowaste. So this is now a good starting point to start to think about how to implement all things, and where to get raw materials to these biological processes. And it's interesting field, and in the future I hope to evaluate these climate impacts also more. And thank you very much. limits.